Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're going to embark on a fascinating journey through time, exploring why we celebrate New Year's on the 1st of January. This isn't just a random date plucked from the calendar, but a globally recognized marker of new beginnings. From ancient civilizations to present-day societies, the turn of the year has been celebrated with much fanfare and deep symbolism. So buckle up as we delve into the ancient origins of New Year's celebrations. Our journey begins in ancient times, when civilizations like the Babylonians and Egyptians marked the beginning of a new year. The concept of a new year has been around for thousands of years, but it wasn't always celebrated on the 1st of January. The Babylonians in Mesopotamia held their New Year's celebrations around the vernal equinox in mid-March. This was a 12-day religious festival known as Akitu, where they would reaffirm loyalty to their king or crown a new one. Also during this time, they would plant their crops, an act symbolizing the start of a new cycle of growth and life. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians tied their new year to the annual flooding of the Nile River. This event coincided with the rising of the star Sirius, signaling the beginning of the agricultural season and marking a time of rebirth and renewal. In contrast, the Romans originally celebrated New Year on March 1st in a month-long festival dedicated to Mars, the god of war. The calendar at this time only consisted of 10 months, beginning with March. However, the celestial events, such as solstices and equinoxes, played a significant role in these early New Year celebrations. The winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, often marked the end of an old year and the start of a new one for many ancient cultures. The days becoming longer and the nights shorter was seen as a time of rebirth and renewal, much like our modern New Year celebrations. These ancient civilizations saw the New Year as a time of rebirth and renewal, a concept that carries on today. However, the date and significance of the New Year varied greatly depending on their unique cultural and agricultural practices. But how did January 1st become the recognized start of the year? Let's find out. The answer lies with Julius Caesar and his Julian calendar. Now let's go back in time about 2,000 years to the era of the Roman Republic. The Romans had their calendar, but it was a mess, often manipulated for political purposes and quite out of sync with the solar year. Enter Julius Caesar, the ambitious general who would become the dictator of Rome. In the year 45, before the Common Era, Caesar introduced a new calendar system known as the Julian calendar, in an attempt to align the Roman year with the solar year. The Julian calendar was a significant improvement over the chaotic Roman calendar. It established a year as 365 and a quarter days long, divided into 12 months. It was a remarkable attempt at synchronizing human timekeeping with the natural cycles of the Earth and Sun. Now you might be wondering, why January 1st? Well, the Romans traditionally honored Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings, transitions, and endings, on the first day of the year. And guess what? January is named after Janus. With two faces, Janus could look back at the old and forward to the new. This symbolism fit perfectly with the spirit of New Year's celebrations. Under the Julian calendar, January 1st was recognized as the first day of the year. This recognition was not universally accepted at first, and different cultures continued to celebrate New Year's Day at different times. But as the influence of the Roman Empire grew, so too did the adoption of its calendar and the recognition of January 1st as the start of the year. The Julian calendar, with its New Year's Day on January 1st, was used widely for over 1,600 years. It was only replaced by the Gregorian calendar, our current calendar system, in the late 16th century. But that's a story for another time. So, January 1st became the official start of the year. But what about the cultural and religious influences on New Year celebrations? Cultural and religious traditions have also played a big role in shaping New Year celebrations. The practice of making New Year's resolutions, for example, can be traced back to the ancient Babylonians. They were known to make promises to their gods at the start of each year to return borrowed items and pay their debts, a tradition that has evolved into our modern custom of setting goals for self-improvement. In many cultures, the new year is seen as a time to wipe the slate clean and start afresh. This is symbolized in the name of the first month, January, which is derived from the Roman god Janus. Janus, with two faces, one looking back at the past and the other toward the future, perfectly encapsulates the spirit of the new year. He was the god of beginnings, transitions, doors, and passages, and was often invoked at the start of important events or undertakings. Religion too has had its influence. In Christianity, for instance, January 1st is celebrated as the feast of the circumcision of Christ, marking 8 days after his birth when he was named and circumcised as per Jewish tradition. In medieval times, this religious significance contributed to the acceptance of January 1st as the start of the year. In many Eastern cultures, different calendars are used alongside the Gregorian calendar, and New Year is celebrated according to these calendars as well. For example, the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year is one of the most important traditional holidays in China, marked with elaborate rituals, family gatherings, and public festivities. New Year celebrations have always been more than just a date on a calendar. They're a blend of cultural, religious, and personal traditions that reflect our human need for endings and beginnings, for reflection and aspiration. They are a time to honor the past, celebrate the present, and embrace the future with hope and anticipation. These traditions have evolved over time, leading to our modern-day celebrations. They remind us that while the date of New Year might be a relatively recent convention, the essence of the celebration, the joy of new beginnings, the hope for a better future, is as old as time itself. From fireworks to countdowns, New Year's celebrations today are a global phenomenon. Across the globe, from Sydney's dazzling display over the Harbour Bridge to New York's iconic ball drop in Times Square, millions gather to bid farewell to the old year and welcome the new. These visually spectacular events symbolize unity as people across different cultures and time zones come together in anticipation of what lies ahead. But the new year isn't just about grand celebrations. It's the smaller, personal traditions that often hold the most meaning. In Spain, for instance, people eat 12 grapes at midnight, each representing good luck for the months to come. In Denmark, they hurl old plates and glasses against the doors of friends and family to banish bad spirits. And in Japan, they ring their bells 108 times in alignment with the Buddhist belief that this brings cleansing from the previous year's sins. These diverse traditions, though varied in nature, all carry a common thread: the hope for a brighter tomorrow. They encapsulate the human desire for renewal, for a fresh start. It's a universal sentiment that transcends borders and cultures, making the start of a new year a truly global event. Yet, the new year isn't just about celebration, it's also a time for reflection and resolutions. As we bid farewell to the old year, we also set goals for the new one. These resolutions, these promises we make to ourselves, are more than just a tradition. They are a manifestation of the human spirit's desire for growth and betterment. Consider the tale of a man who, on the first day of a new year, resolved to lose weight. Over the course of that year, he shed 100 pounds, transforming not just his body, but his entire life. His story is proof that resolutions, when pursued with determination, can lead to profound personal growth. Or the story of a woman who, on a crisp January morning, decided to learn a new language. By December, she was fluent, opening up a whole new world of possibilities for herself. These stories and countless others underline the transformative power of New Year's resolutions. So as we reflect on the past and look forward to the future, let's remember the origins and significance of why we celebrate New Year on January 1st. From ancient civilizations to modern-day festivities, New Year's celebrations have evolved significantly. We've traced the journey from celestial events marking beginnings in Babylon and Egypt, to Julius Caesar's calendar reform setting January 1st as the year's start. Cultural and religious traditions have further shaped our celebrations, adding depth to the symbolism of January. Today, we unite globally, sharing traditions, resolutions, and most importantly, hope. Remember to start this year with positivity, hope, and don't forget to share your own New Year traditions and resolutions in the comments below.